Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the match preview segment for Leeds United versus Everton Premier League. Coming off the back of a bad result against Newcastle, I'm joined by Ian Mills from the Across the Park podcast. We're going to try and see how we can do things differently after the farce that was Saturday. So, Ian, getting straight into it, Leeds game, how do we avoid another debacle?
We have to change system, we have to change personnel, and we have to be more aggressive. Three things that maybe two of the three are pretty easy to do. The latter, I'm not too sure that Everton can go into a game, and outfight Leeds United on Wednesday. I think for me, probably not everyone's cup of tea. I think Tom Davies has to come in. You have to G Tom Davies up on Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning. You have to fill him with confidence and tell me he's the man who's going to win the ball back on Wednesday night. He's the one who's going to keep Everton ticking. And it's a very short-term solution, but he has to play for me on Wednesday because Leeds showing at Goodison already this season that their midfield three are all about working hard for each other. And I don't think you can put Gylfi Sigurdsson or Andre Gomez in that situation. Like I said on your previous show, they played a game with each other all year, which is called try and do worse than me, and I'll get dropped next week and you'll come back in and I'll try and do worse than you, because those two midfielders need so much time on the ball that Leeds will not allow them to have. We have to have James Rodriguez more advanced up the pitch, and that for me means Luca Dean probably plays as a left wing back, similar to how we played against Wolves, and you bring Ben Godfrey and you bring Mason Holgate back in, two players who won't turn down a fight.
Yeah, we need really brave players to come in, and some of those cowards who played in the Newcastle game need to be bombed out. You know, you got Sigurdsson, Gomez. I'd put James Coleman in that group as well. I think he plays like a coward these days. He needs to stay away from the team. I think obviously Richarlison's not in the best vein of form. I know we discussed earlier about possibly switching him or Dominic Calvert-Lewin out and putting a more bona fide wide player in on the left. Would you see something like that coming in for the lineup as well?
Yeah, I think Seamus Coleman. I mean, I've been a Seamus Coleman fan for a number of years, but I just think that we get a bit more from Mason Holgate at the minute. I think if Holgate comes in, not only is he aggressive, but he's a talker on the pitch, and you can see that he's always arguing with the opposition, and he's not going to back down from anybody. And I think that's what we need at the moment. Luca Dean to be more advanced, along with James Rodriguez to be given just more freedom to be more up the pitch and hurt Leeds, because, like I said to you previously, James, there was times against Newcastle where James Rodriguez was standing in our half with the ball, looking at what was in front of him. That's not where you need James Rodriguez. You need James Rodriguez in a position where he's close to the opposition's goal. He's close to their defenders. He's going to make things happen. We've seen James this season that he is really good with the long balls and he can switch play, but I like him more when he's more advanced up the pitch, and there's mass panic when he gets the ball and runs at players. You can see the opposition having panic attacks. Like, how do we deal with this player? If we get him more advanced, we have Luca Dean and we have one of Dominic Calvert-Lewin over Richarlison. I wouldn't play both. I don't think that partnership is really working at the moment. It may be that it works again in the future. I really hope it does, because we've seen the benefits of when it does work. I just think at the moment we need to be finding solutions to put points on the table, because, like I said, James, this is the first time in a season now where teams are starting to pull away. We've always had the benefits of losing a game and saying, oh, we're only 2 points off. Well, now we're 7 points off. Now we're 8 points off. So we need to find short-term solutions to put points on the board.
It certainly is. I was saying after the Newcastle game that I fear another bottom half finish if we don't get our act together, because, you know, the league's so congested in terms of like this sort of position we're in now, from 7th to like 12th. We could have another bad finish again if we don't work hard enough to make sure that we don't. You know, we're still in.
That would kill me. That would absolutely kill me.
It'd kill me, but it's a possibility, because some of these players haven't got the stomach to fight. Basically, every game that comes along right now is a question mark, and it's how much do you want to play in Europe next season? And a lot of these players say, no, I don't want to play in Europe next season. I want to finish in the bottom half. I want to finish in mid-table, and I want to just sit here and pick up my paycheck and be happy that I'm playing in the Premier League.
Yeah, and that's why I've said Tom Davies, because Tom Davies, for and I hate saying this about anyone who's came through the youth academy, but for his lack of ability on the ball, I think he cares. I've
Yeah,
never seen
he
Tom.
cares.
I've never seen Tom Davis walk off a pitch and be smiling when we've lost. He always seems to be hurt, and I think we need a little bit of that. I don't want to see Gylfi Sigurdsson anywhere near the team. I don't want to see Andre Gomez near the team on Wednesday night. I want to see someone who will at least come off with the shirt stuck to them and say, "Do you know what? I couldn't have give any more. If it wasn't good enough, fine, but I couldn't have give any more."
Yeah, I think there's some players who just aren't interested in. I think for me, it is every game is that question mark for me now is how much do you want to finish in the top 6 and you get an answer from every performance that you get from every player. And some of these players want mediocrity and they're happy with that. And we can't have those kind of poisonous players in the club.
No. On the flip side, there's been positive comments from a number of players, mainly the new ones. And I know Alan said when he came to Everton that he wants to play in the Champions League. James Rodriguez has said he wants to play in the Champions League. The manager has said last week that he's missing the Champions League. Yerry Mina has said it. Luca Dina said it. But all those players there are relatively new to Everton Football Club. They're not you know, you look at players who've been there for a long time. They're not saying that, and that's a worry for me. And maybe it's a positive thing in a way that Carlo's identifying that the mentality isn't there, and he's bringing these characters in who will, in turn, when he builds his own team, and he doesn't have to rely on the Koemans and the Silvers leftovers, and even some Martinez leftovers that he had to rely on last year. Once he moves all them out and he has his own team, I can certainly see it's going to be a number of players who want to play in the Champions League, not just 3 or 4.
Yeah, certainly. I think the big difference is having Ancelotti. I think if we need to make sure Ancelotti's still here. And I think that's the one thing everyone's like terrified about is like if he's not there because he's the big game changer here.
Yeah, he won't have had the Newcastle performance. He's not going to have that. I think, like I've seen previously, when we've had bad performances, we've tend to have bounced back, and I think that's probably down to him, his leadership, and then his tactical nous to get things right and change things. He's done it a number of times this season already. There was times last season he was doing it. I remember Leicester at home when he was counter substituting everything Rodgers did. He was making the game slower. And some of the games that Everton play, I think a neutral wouldn't watch them because they're very much the Italian job. We go for 1-0 sometimes, yeah, and that's great for me as an Evertonian. I don't care what others think, but I think you're right in what you're saying. Having him there is the big difference, and that's why I'm not. God, I'm just going to say that's why I'm not really overly worried by the whole thing. Yes, it's really disappointing where we are after the Newcastle game, but we've got Carlo Ancelotti. We're not looking at Ronald Koeman or Marco Silva or anyone previous to that. We're looking at Carlo Ancelotti, and I think going into the game Wednesday, I'll be excited come Wednesday to watch it. I'll be hoping for Spirit of the Blues to be all over the Instagrams at 10 o'clock. I'll be back. My feeling is that we'll go to Leeds on Wednesday, and with him in charge, I think he'll change things, and I think 3 points.
Fingers crossed there. Yeah, I think what you've got to remember is we're still a severely limited team that he's getting a lot out of. I mean, he's brought in some of his own players and it's improved us a lot. One of those who's crucial has been missing for a month. Well, 2 months.
Yeah.
I think there's we're still a very limited team in terms of what we offer. And, I think it'll take a bit more time. And I think it's interesting that this has come. Obviously, this game is coming up in midweek. Obviously, before that, we've got Monday and the transfer deadline. Can you see us doing any business? Could we see any potential new faces in there that to maybe just make sure that Sigurdsson's not in the team?
Do you know what, James? If you'd have asked me this last week, I'd have said no, simply because the manager was saying no. The manager came out after the Newcastle game and said that we're going to look if we can do something. He confirmed that Bernard and Tosin were talking to other clubs. I think it's confirmed now Tosin's gone back to Besiktas on loan.
Yeah.
But Bernard's talking to a team in Dubai, I believe. So if we go into the second half of the season and out on loan are Theo Walcott, Moise Keane, St. Tosin and Bernard, and there's no replacements, I don't think the manager would put us in that situation. But then can we get things over the line? It's going to be a big day. And we've seen windows where we've tried to sign players and not got them in time. So I'm just hoping that if we do go for someone tomorrow, there's no problems with it because we do look short. There wasn't even a full bench yesterday, and that had 2 goalkeepers on it. So I think the manager's looking at it not only from depth point of view, but I think a quality point of view. If we could have put, if we could have put Callum Wilson on yesterday for the last 20 minutes, a Callum Wilson would have made a difference. So I don't see us maybe going to sign a 60, 70 million pound striker, but I can certainly see us having to go and get a couple of attacking options on Monday.
Certainly, and even if it's on loan, we just need to get something
Yeah.
different to what we've got, because the Newcastle game was evidence that it's just not good enough what we've got in reserve at the moment.
Oh, I agree. And then you look at even Anthony Gordon. He's not being trusted to come on to change the game. I don't think he had the best game at Sheffield United on Boxing Day, did he? And that may be hindering, putting him on. And there's rumours today online again that Everton on opposed to loaning him out to the Bundesliga or a Championship club. So you may see someone like Anthony Gordon go. And again, if you're not replacing these players, we don't want to be in a situation where come April or May, if we are there or thereabouts, and we lose 2 of our players for 3 or 4 games, it would absolutely kill us.
Yeah, we need some cover, and I do think like that we'll see at least one come in before the deadline, but we'll have to wait and see. About the Leeds game, though, it's going to be a really difficult game because we showed against Newcastle that we're an absolutely gutless shower of shite, let's be honest, and these are a team of real fighters. These are like notorious for throwing the weight around and getting about the pitch. How do we combat it? You mentioned maybe even Tom Davis.
I think you have to get our creative players away from their midfield 3. Because at Goodison, I think we tried to play James Rodriguez centrally against Leeds at Goodison, if I remember rightly, and it just didn't work. They hustled and bustled them. I think you need to put 3 midfielders in there who can just nullify the threat of their midfielders going near Lucas Dean or James Rodriguez. Keep James Rodriguez and Lucas Dean as far up the pitch as you possibly can with a striker. I think a flat midfield 3 has to be the job on Wednesday night. I think Tom Davis has to come in. You have to give him a role. You have to say, this is your role for tonight. Don't do anything other than this. Abdul Decore is probably the first name on the team sheet at the minute, simply because the energy that he brings, I don't think he backs down from a fight. It then leaves another gap, and that's what I'm saying before. We need to get away from having to rely on some of these players.
Silverstone and Gomez mainly.
I think it's going to have to be one of them. I don't think Fabian Delph would come back in. I don't even think he'd be fit enough to come back in. So I think you'd probably have to then look at Andre Gomez, unless maybe he's bringing something like a Ben Godfrey or a Mason Holgate in midfield. I don't know. Maybe he puts Holgate in there and puts Seamus Coleman as a right back. I don't know. But I think for me, we actually need 3 people in the middle of the park on Wednesday to fight and to battle and keep their midfielders away from attacking Lucas Dean and James Rodriguez. Something which didn't happen on Saturday against Newcastle. We allowed their midfielders to be all over James Rodriguez. We can't allow that again on Wednesday.
Yeah. There's got to be a massive tactical shuffle. So, how do we nullify the Leeds threat? Because obviously they do have some decent players going forward. They showed that in the return fixture at Goodison in November. How do we nullify that?
It goes back to what I've just said. I think we have to fight. If we allow them to get on top, then that's where Leeds are best, because if they start winning one-on-ones, they start winning duels, they grow into the game, and that's what Leeds have done under Bielsa. They're not the most attractive team. I think in the Championship, they were one of the most attractive teams. They haven't really brought that to the Premiership. I know they're probably both teams to score. Bet is on Leeds most weeks, but they're not really attractive, free-flowing. They love a fight, they love a battle, and they'll try and hit you with that. They'll try and press you and press you and press you. We've got to be ready for that. I expect that we'd probably concede a goal on Wednesday night. We've just got to concentrate on hurting them. They're not brilliant at the back. They haven't got a very good goalkeeper. I think if you can have like I keep saying, James Rodriguez as close to them as possible and running at those Championship defenders, which you should do. If you have Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison on the ends of Lucas Dean's set pieces and Lucas Dean's dead balls, I think that's the way to go. I just think the big thing, James, and you keep saying it, and I agree, is the fight. We've got to go into Wednesday and win the fight. If we win the fight, we win the game.
I'm just so lacking in confidence in these players to put a fight up after that game, though. I think that's just the real like one that's making me terrified about this game, is just the idea of these players turning up and thinking that's all they have to do, because that's seems to be the mindset that they take on at the moment.
Yeah, I think the manager will see that. The manager will bring in. I think Ben Godfrey is has to start on Wednesday. He's the one player who will have a fight all night for you. I think he'll play. I think the manager's probably seen what you've seen, James, and he's going to address it because, yeah, you're right. There's a number of players there who aren't up for the fight. If Gylfi Sigurdsson or Andre Gomez got a kick early doors on Wednesday, we wouldn't see them for the rest of the game. You need someone to get a kick and kick them back. I think Ben Godfrey's got that. I think Mason Holgate's got that. And that's why I say it might not be too shocked to see one of those two possibly in the midfield.
Certainly, I'd like to personally see, even if it's on the starting 11, a new face on the bench from the transfer window, because there needs to be something different injected into this team.
You were looking at the game on Saturday and looking at the bench and thinking, who can really come on here? When we went 1-0 down, I was looking, going, can we really bring anyone on? I know Andre Gomez came on, but that's not good enough. You need someone who you can rely on to turn a game. We've always had that until recently. We've always had, until the past 3 or 4 years, someone who can come on. Even the likes of Stephen Naismith, he wasn't the most brilliant player, but you throw him on for the last 15 minutes and the crowd will go, right, we now know someone is going to run at these players, going to fight for every ball and might be on the end of something. We don't really have that on the bench. So I agree with you, to have someone on the bench on Wednesday who would have to be a new signing because we haven't got it otherwise, who can come on and influence a game. They don't have to be the world's best player. They just have to be able to come on and influence a game. We haven't got that. So
basically, you need to come on and not hide behind the opposition midfielders and actually want the ball.
Yeah, just to be aggressive. Realize that the club you're playing for. Be proud of the club you're playing for. Be willing to go and fight. Be willing to not, hide behind others. And we've lost a lot of that in recent years, and you can see the manager trying to address it. Alan, Decore, and James Rodriguez are not small personalities. Even James Rodriguez, when he's down being kicked, he's looking up and he's swearing at them. He's shouting back, and he's up for the verbal fight with them. I think he got someone sent off. Was it Brighton this year? He very cleverly, or West Brom?
West Brom. Someone poked him in the eye or something. I don't know.
And he went down, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I'd hate it if it was against Everton, but when it's for us, I love it. So I think these big characters are slowly coming against the club. They are being addressed.
Yeah, we've got to hope that I think 1 or 2 maybe come in the next couple of days before the window shuts as well. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. But with that in mind, prediction, not looking forward to this personally, but what would you go with?
Do you know what? I'm confident. I'm devastated after Saturday, but like I keep saying to you, we've seen Carlo Ancelotti do this before. I think we'll bounce back. I don't think we're good enough to keep a clean sheet in any game, never mind this run of form. I'm going to go 3-1 to Everton.
3-1, wow. I'm going to say 2-2.
You've been hurt, James, haven't you? You've been really hurt by Saturday, haven't you, mate?
I've been really hurt. I mean, I'm not going to lie, that really hurts me, Bruce. It's deflated me a lot, to be honest, and I've lost hope for the season. I'm just praying that I'm proved wrong, but sadly, I've been proved right for decades. So, I'm 25.
Yeah, like I keep saying, look, it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit different. I think the fact that we've got Carlo Ancelotti in there, and we've got a number of players on the pitch who can change a game. I think I've felt low at times. I've felt low under the Koeman, the Allardyce, and the Marco Silva eras. But all those times, I've always looked at the pitch and thought, we haven't really got a really good team anyway. And then I've looked at the manager and thought, you're not really a good manager. It's different now. I'm looking at a number of our players thinking that they would walk into other teams. I'm looking at the bench. I'm seeing Carlo Ancelotti leading them. I don't think the season's dead. I think this season there's plenty to play for. I think my dream of winning the league is over. I don't think your dream of qualifying for the Champions League is over. I think there's a lot of games still to play. And with Carlo Ancelotti managing this football club, why not be positive?
Good point. But for now, I'm going to go for a draw in this game. I still think we're in a bit of a rut, but might take a bit of time to get back out of that. Hopefully, maybe turn it round in the cup next week. Buys a bit more time to get Alan back, maybe get some more players bedded in. I don't think we'll get the result we're hoping for on Wednesday, though. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I know that's not what you guys tuning in want to hear, but that's just what I can see at this moment in time. I think it might just take a little bit longer for us to get out of this bad spell. Like Ian and I have said, get a few more players and we might see a bit of a better team for the rest of the season then. But anyway, guys, let us know your predictions, your opinions going into this game. Drop us a comment. Give this video a like and subscribe for more content as we move towards the Leeds game. And of course, the transfer deadline. Definitely keep tuned in for that as well. We'll have loads of coverage of that as well. And all I can say is thanks, Ian, for coming on and helping me get through this with minimal pessimism.
No worries, mate. It's a pleasure to be on an Everton podcast and not an Everton and Liverpool podcast for a change. So anytime you want to come on our podcast as well, Jay, give us a shout.
Oh, that'd be excellent. Yeah, be an absolute pleasure, mate. Great to have you on. And of course, for you guys tuning in, thanks for watching on the Toffee Blues, and we'll see you next time.